Hey everybody, long time no see. I've been on holiday and now back in the swing of things, and I wanted to pop in this Monday and share. Well, I've got a few lessons that I've learned recently that I want to share with all of you, but the one that has been persistent is an experience I had while I was away with my partner. So traveling teaches you not only a lot about yourself, but also your partnership. Traveling can be, hey Camellia, can be stressful. It can put strain on a relationship. It can, show you where maybe some squidgy parts are within yourself, if you're being honest and you're in the practice of calling bullshit on your own stuff. And then also show you where there's maybe some space and places to do some work with your partner and to really, most importantly, show up for yourself. So for me, I had an experience with my guy, and bless his heart. You're in a good partnership when your partner can hold space to do this kind of work. It's a slippery slope if you get into the practice of finger pointing or not owning your own shit. So in this situation, I was getting ready for us to go out and have another adventure for the day, and happened to be listening to something, and he came in and said something what I perceived as being really negative. And I thought, and then his reaction wasn't positive either. And it triggered me. It pushed into a button. And automatically what happens, in order to legitimize that discomfort within us, we start to rationalize the negative feelings that we're feeling and or uncomfortable feelings. I want to avoid using the word negative because they're positive because they have so much to teach us. And this dialogue can start running, which is our safety net. It's like, it's okay for you to feel this way, that this person's a bad person, the sky's falling, the other shoe's going to drop, here, blah, 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 disaster is impending kind of dialogue, which does not serve anyone, least of all yourself, and can flood you actually physically with stress hormones, cortisol, and in some cases, if it's a real trigger for your nervous system, adrenaline, and then there's no chance or opportunity for clarity of thought. So in those situations, as I have learned and teach, it's important for you to take a beat, to sit with the discomfort, allow those chemicals to move through your body. It's called flooding. Allow the flood to move through you and to drain so that you can start to regain some clarity of thought. And how you can do this is just really hold space for yourself and be compassionate. Be okay to be upset. You don't need to fling that upset or react and propel your pain or upset on anyone else, including yourself. But you can sit with it, and when you hold space and don't go into reaction, there's typically a lot of teaching in there. So I knew I had to do this because I full-blown reacted within my body and sat to hold space to see what would arise. And what I quickly realized is the reason I was so easily triggered is it was old stuff of mine. It was stuff that was coming up from a past relationship. It didn't actually have anything, that part didn't have anything to do with my current relationship. So it allowed me to get clarity, and this was a wonderful gift and opportunity for me to develop more intimacy with myself and see where I could do some more loving support, self-soothing, which is how we can be more deeply connected with our sense of self, and to do what I needed to in order to feel better. And then it was about going and having an honest conversation with him to share what happened for me and how I was feeling about the situation, because I knew that if I let it ride, that it was the opportunity and breeding ground for resentment. Because if I let it go and something like that happened again and I didn't address it, where we can fall into is we start to like, see, there's proof that there's something wrong or that he or she is this way. And we start to legitimize instead of actually getting curious and doing our own cleanup. Because even in that situation, if it were to arise again, it's me that didn't address it the first time. That's how we can take responsibility for ourselves. And we can dispel any of the fears that might arise. So once a little time had passed, it still was before we went anywhere, I went and found him and I asked him directly, like, what happened there? And this was my experience. What was your experience? And I felt this way, and I realized that's where this has come from. And this also, how it went down, is not okay for me. And so can we talk about that? And this is your opportunity to share with me how it felt for you and what your boundaries are. And every time we come back to each other that way and have this honest, self-responsible and self-accountable conversation, not only do we deepen our intimacy with ourselves, but we do with each other as well. Because in holding that space and being responsible for our own stuff and also reestablishing boundaries, it really anchors and creates a foundation of trust that we know that we can come to each other even from a place of hurt or vulnerability and be able to work it through, because there's no blame. And it's also not leaving space for old shit to manifest into old storytelling and provide the breeding ground for resentment. We rob that of its oxygen by addressing it head on from a place where we have both given ourselves the space and time to look at it for us and come back from a place of accountability and also being responsible for what it is that we need. So I really wanted to come in here and share that little nugget with you and that experience with me. And there will be other times. There will continue to be opportunities for me to do this within my relationship, and most definitely for you too. That's just part of the human experience. But it's taking these as opportunities instead of the shoe dropping or the sky falling or, here's more of the same. It's up to you to find out, is this more of the same? How much of this is mine? How much of this is theirs? And then to address it head on so that you don't 3 months later into a new relationship or 10 years later into a committed relationship realize I've been abandoning myself and not addressing the things that are concerning me or that are upsetting me. This can happen on a first date. This is your opportunity to really deepen your relationship with self and create the possibility of deeper connection with someone new, someone you've been with for a long time, or someone that, you're perhaps deciding not to be with anymore. This could be the first step in actually changing your relationship. So don't rob resentment of its oxygen by dealing with things head on, but take these initial steps first so that you're really doing it from a place of integrity. Okay, everybody, until next time, sending you big love.